All right. Good morning, everyone. It's already 10:30 a.m. So without further ado, we will start our session. Before that, good morning to all of you. Before I start, thank you so much for all those of you who are here present today for our sharing session. On behalf of my team, I thank you for being here, for taking your time to come and attend our sharing session. So I am the MC of the day. My name is Tabitha. So good morning, everyone. Hello. And I just want to introduce my team members very quickly. So first up, we have Xiao Tong.
Hi.
And next is Emily.
Morning, everyone.
All right. Then Michelle
Good morning.
and Kaisia.
Hi, good morning.
And finally, we have Gateway.
Hello, morning.
So yeah, this is my team. We are Bachelors of Public Relations Year 2 students from Tunku Abdul Rahman University College, and we are from Group 6, Team C. So today we'll be having a sharing session on the topic, how new media helps in boosting up mental health among tertiary students during the pandemic. So we all know that, with the rise of the cases and this pandemic, many people are going through mental health issues. So which is why me and my team thought we should actually speak about it. And we are so thankful that you guys actually took time to actually come and attend this sharing session. So now, before we move into the next part, I would like to just remind you guys about 3 housekeeping rules. This housekeeping rules is will be followed throughout the whole session. Yeah. So the first one is all the participants' audio will be disabled during the session because this is to avoid any inconvenience or interruption while the guest speaker is actually delivering her message. And next is please post your questions at the chat box only during the Q&A session, because it will be hard for our guest speaker to actually see the chat box and while she's delivering her message. So when the Q&A session is up, you guys can just shoot in your questions, and we'll have our guest speaker to answer all of your questions. And the third one is the session is being recorded, so don't worry, fret not if you guys some of your friends are not able to attend this talk show. This session is being recorded, so you can always watch it once we have uploaded in our social media channels. All right? Is everybody good? Is everybody good? If yes, please type 1 in the chat box. I just want to know if you guys are okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see all your responses. Thank you so much. So now is the important part. It's already what? 10:33. So I would like to invite our guest speaker. So I'm sure you guys have already know who is our guest speaker, because we have already posted it up in our FB page, in our Insta page. But for all those of you who still do not know, okay, let's move on to the next slide and invite our guest speaker. All right, there you go. This is Miss Amanda Chiang, our guest speaker for our sharing session today. And Miss Amanda is a registered and licensed counselor under the Lembaga Counselor Malaysia. So I don't want to take much of her time. I'm just going to quickly invite her. I think she's already here. So let us invite Miss Amanda to give a short or a brief introduction about her. So let's welcome her, guys. Miss Amanda, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Tabitha. Good morning. And I cannot believe you guys actually can wake up that early to actually attend a talk. So thank you for having me here. As Tabitha has introduced, I am a registered and licensed counselor. I graduated from Heyloooo University in Masters in Counseling. Hello, Joshua. Hello, Yoting, Carlo, Hao Yi-Shen, Rachel. Thank you, Tubing. And one more fact about me, I actually graduated in Bachelor of Mass Communications, specializing in PR as well. And I've worked in digital advertising for 9 years. So yeah, new media, PR, mental health. So I have a little bit of knowledge in each and every one of this because of my work experience. And it happened that when Tabitha approached me, this really comes very close to home. So thank you for having me here, and thank you for tuning in and listening. Back to you, Tabitha. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Miss Amanda. So yeah, here we go. We have our guest speaker already, and we have all our participants already. So without further ado, let's start our session. So we have prepared a lot of questions that we want to ask Miss Amanda, and also you guys have posted out your questions to us via FB and also Instagram. So we will talk about it more during the Q&A session. But right now, let me remind you guys again, your mics will be disabled, and also if you guys can please on your camera and enjoy this session. We hope that you get something out of this session. All right, so let's quickly move on to the first question. So Miss Amanda, what are the challenges faced by tertiary students during this pandemic, and how can they cope with the current situation? The current situation we mean by this pandemic and all this online setting. So back to you.
I think being a tertiary student itself is already a very challenging journey, right? You have your assignments, you have to juggle with your family's relationship, and then finances, relationships, romantic relationships. So on top of that kind of stress that you're facing, now we have entered into a different norm, right? I think what affects tertiary students the most is the transition from offline to online classes. So on top of the stresses you're having this transition. Okay, there's this thing called Zoom fatigue where a lot of people experience. So Zoom fatigue basically can lead to bodily fatigue, the lack of motivation, lack of concentration, and then the whole structure, the whole study structure has also changed. There's no more campus life, there's no more going to classes, and no more seeing your friends and your peers. So this lack of socialization and also lack of structure can lead to a lack of sleep structure. So your sleep is disrupted, and it can change your body clock, which then affects how you sleep, your mood, and your appetite. Because we are all born social creatures, right? And the lack of face-to-face socializing time actually leads to more loneliness and isolation. And if prolonged, it may lead to more severe symptoms like anxiety, depression, panic, the loss of hope. Keep on thinking, when is this going to stop? And when can we go back to offline classes? And in some more severe cases, even suicidal thoughts. Other than that, students also experience homesick. It's not just about being too far from home. Sometimes being too close to home and being with family and having a lot of family conflict can also lead to a lot of mental distress. So the second part to the question, how can they cope with the current situation? Actually, it's very simple. Just create a structure, a very simple structure, like a schedule or a to-do list. Make it as simple as possible. What time do you wake up? What time do you go to school? What time do you have your classes? What time do you have your meals? What time do you have your leisure time, your rest time, and what time do you go to sleep, right? So once you've completed each and every task, right, just tick a box. Just create like a real list, like use a pen and paper to write it down instead of like noting it down in your phone or what. Because once you tick every box, it gives you a sense of achievement every day. Okay, at least I'm living for something and not without a purpose. Just take small steps one time at a day. So my psychiatrist told me as well, he said, like, you don't have to achieve big things. If you want to do laundry, let's say if you're really too tired to do it, if you can just put your clothes in the laundry as the first step. And then on the next day, you can turn on the laundry. And on the third day, maybe you can hang the clothes. Small steps like that will help you to kickstart a habit. Imagine yourself being in a war, right? Everybody lives one day at a time, thinking about how they can survive the day and not thinking too far ahead of things. that can help us to live in the here and the now and keep our minds more present and helps us to cope with the pandemic. So for example, recently for me, how I coped is I engaged a new therapist. Maybe you can see in the next slide. Yeah, so his name is Danny. And before that, he was actually an abandoned stray dog. You can see it in the next photo, how pitiful he looks, right? He doesn't have fur and he's all. So I took my time to take care of him. And apparently during the pandemic, all the animal shelters ran out. Thank you everyone. Yeah, he's very cute now. All the animal shelters ran out of dogs to adopt, and they are all empty because people are actually adopting dogs, and hopefully they won't be abandoning the dogs when the lockdown has stopped and things are back to normal. So taking care of him is my own way of self-care, and also like it's therapeutic for me. But you may find something that is more useful for you, because you need a list of activities to keep your body engaged and your mind stimulated. It's very important to keep your hormones in balance. The few hormones that are mainly in charge of our mood are, you can see in the slide, I think before the table. Dopamine is a reward and pleasure system. So oxytocin is a love hormone, and serotonin is a mood stabilizer, endorphin is a pain reliever. So if these are a list of tasks that actually induce some of these hormones that you may find helpful as well, and you might want to screenshot. Things like, I'll give you an example, endorphin, a random act of kindness. Sometimes I do that, right? When I am working with someone who is disabled, or when I am helping a bunch of students with a talk. These are some of the random acts of kindness that I do. Or you can, completing a task, you can see up there, dopamine, it gives you dopamine, and hence I came up with why you need a schedule or a to-do list to tick it off every time you finish off a task, because it can induce dopamine in yourself. Yep. Back to Tabitha.
I must say that Danny looks really cute, and what I can relate to from what Miss Amanda said just now was the sleeping pattern, because I really struggle with sleeping patterns, and I guess like most of us students do have the same problem. Okay, so yeah, we'll quickly move on to the next question. Miss Amanda, with the rise of new media, because we are living in this era, new media, do you observe a change in your clienteles and the mode of therapy being conducted offline versus online?
Yeah, there has been a change, a drastic change actually, especially during this pandemic. Usually I work with between 18 to 40-year-old adults, but since this pandemic has started, the lockdown has started, there's a rise of people seeking mental health from mere age of 13 years old, right, who are experiencing deep anxiety, depression, and they usually reach out through the new media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and through my website. And also, due to the pandemic and the rising number of cases, I've transitioned most of my sessions from offline to online for safety purpose. Yeah. So definitely there is a change in the clientele. They're getting younger and younger, and you will hear people as young as 9 years old saying that they have suicidal thoughts even.
Okay, so how do you approach your client nowadays?
Usually the new clients approach me through WhatsApp and Facebook or Instagram. So I have one new client who even chatted with me on Signal. Of course, Signal is something like WhatsApp that is more popular in Europe and the US. I do have some international clientele as well. So all of my clients right now, I talk to them through WhatsApp. Only a small number of them will talk to me through a phone call.
Okay, Miss. So we'll move on to the next question. Psychotherapy is a part of mental health care. Do you think new media is a conducive platform for mental health practitioners to carry out psychotherapy? And how is psychotherapy conducted online?
Yes, the new media is very helpful, especially in times like this. I would say without the new media, we wouldn't have the opportunity to carry out online counseling and online sessions, which would make the everyone very difficult because we want to help and we couldn't help. And people who need help might actually get worse, and we don't want the worst to happen, right? So I would say the effectiveness is relatively high because people are getting used to it. We have no choice. Like you can't see a person in person anymore. The only choice is to actually do it online. And we are amazing creatures. We can just adapt and adjust ourselves, to get used to it. So over time, it does get more effective. In fact, most of the psychotherapy trainings for counselors like us are now conducted online and it's still very effective. Most clients feedback that they can still feel the presence of the therapist. They will continue on with therapy, which is how we know that it's effective. And also the presence is actually the most important element of psychotherapy. But there are some downsides, In face-to-face sessions, there's a lot more that we can sense, like the body language and the energy, the client's very down or very high up and bubbly, that kind of thing. And as effective as the new media is, there is still nothing that can replace a human-to-human interaction, right? Such as a touch, a pat on the shoulder, or a hug, Sometimes those things means 1,000 words, People can sense it and we don't have to say anything. Just give them a pat, and it means a lot to the client. So these are some of the missing elements in online counseling. So we now carry out sessions using a platform called doxy.me because it is HIPAA compliant. HIPAA stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Yeah, so it is an online platform similar to Google Meet. Yeah, we see our clients through the screen like this.
Okay, with all this being said, right, means everything is like now online, all right? Google Meet and this Doxy app that you were saying that you conduct. So at the same time, we also hear like many things like cyberbullying, all this, cyberspace and all these disadvantages on using like social media platforms. But now we're in situations where online platforms are like our only like medium for communication. So how can PR practitioners actually play a role in making the cyberspace a more positive and welcoming platform for teenagers and also our growing generations?
Okay, so I think there's no place in the world where bullying doesn't happen, really. It happens everywhere. It happens in school, it happens at the workplace. Even in my industry, there's bullying going on. So that's something that is unavoidable. And what we need is people to advocate, that bullying has bad consequences. So I think this is a whole big topic by itself, really. How PR practitioners can play a role using the new media is you can create PR campaigns to raise public awareness on the consequences of cyberbullying, so that more and more people are aware of it. We need advocates. And the best PR practitioners have an advantage to that because we talk to the mass. Advocates might talk to 1 or 2 person or a limited amount of people. But PR practitioners, I think what you can do is you probably can work with, you will need to incorporate the new media, right? You need to take into consideration to make use of the new media, but you might need to collaborate with media agencies or digital media agencies, creative agencies that come out with those messages, to get those messages across the cyberspace so that more and more people are aware of it. So it is not a one-time off thing. It has to be done over and over again. It's just like if you can think of, suicide campaigns. People don't stop killing themselves after seeing one suicide campaign. It has to be an ongoing thing. So education is very important. I think I can't think of anyone better than PR practitioners to actually play this role, because you guys are the message crafters, right, to the mass audience. So back to you, Tulasi.
Okay. So what you mean is like it got to be like consistent.
Yes, it has to be ongoing, you know, so that more and more people can spread kindness in the cyberspace instead of hatred.
All right.
Because
thank you.
Essentially, that's what bullying is. Bullying is, you know, showing hate towards other people.
Yeah. All right. So, Miss Amanda, can you share like some tips on how we can boost the mental health of our classmates among tertiary students using the new media? Because right now we are, we are away from campus. We are not meeting our friends, but new media is the only way that we could actually do any sort of communication. So, could you please share us some tips?
So I think with technology nowadays, a lot of things can be done. Just imagine if the pandemic happened 30 years ago, we are all stuck at our homes, not being able to do anything. So make full use of it, you know, either to learn a new skill, cooking, learning a new language or instrument, take a short course, you know, drawing, art and craft, yoga, or something you can do at home to keep your mind stimulated and your body engaged. I'm going to repeat this: mind stimulated, body engaged, right? I have a friend who recently took up a master's course because he has nothing to do during his after work time. He's just too free. And I think you should also make use this time to maybe broaden your knowledge. So learn something different on YouTube, you know, because intelligent people are more attractive. There are a lot of exercise as, you know, to meditate, to breathe, you know, if in case you're having some kind of anxiety issues, I would say there are breathing apps out there that is available. I think there are even karaoke platform. It's called WeSing, that, you know, you can group a lot of people together and sing in a karaoke room for people who like to sing. You can make use of the new media to do a watch party, watch something on Netflix, and make use of all your chat platforms, be it WhatsApp, Zoom, Signal, or Telegram, to connect with friends or families that you have lost touch with. If you can, just give them a call, a video call, instead of just texting, because it gives more sensory input. It has visual input, so it adds a more personal touch to it. You know, when we connect, we feel good, and our hormones releases dopamine that helps us to elevate our moods and improve our mental health.
All right. So, Miss Amanda, if I may ask, I'm sure all of us have good days, bad days. So, what do you do during your bad days? Like when you feel low or something, what do you actually do to like boost your mental health?
Oh, I actually have this playlist of songs that helps me to meditate and go into a meditative state. So I do that. I have a lot of body calming strategies as well, which is some tapping work that I do. And I also use aromatherapy, so essential oils and things like that. So things to do with your five senses, things that you can look at, you can hear, whichever that works best for you. For me, it's always music. So music is my go-to.
All right, perfect. So the last question, before we move to the most interesting part of our session. So as a PR practitioner, how can we work with mental health practitioners to help tertiary students deal with mental health issues?
Actually, you are already doing it. This is exactly what it is right now, right here, right? To conduct talks like this, I think you guys are doing an amazing job. So if you work as a PR practitioner in the corporate sector or the private sector, right, this will probably fall under CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. You may then collaborate with mental health practitioners to conduct mental health talks among tertiary students as part of corporate social responsibility. A part of that, I think you can also collaborate with brands who are targeting you. Brands like, you know, Nescafe cans, Milo, and all this. you can talk to them and to ask them to provide sponsorship to students who might need counseling, who might need funding, to ask them to sponsor children. Because I think Celcom is also doing certain things like the Axiata program, the Axiata scholarship program. So you can do something like I don't know, you can call it Axiata counseling program or something for tertiary students. And those are the angles where you can go in, but you're definitely gonna need collaboration with brands, with mental health practitioners, and also your organization needs to be aligned with the objective, which is to improve the mental health of tertiary students.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Amanda, for actually being so patient and answering all these questions. Participants, are you guys there? If you guys are there, please type 2. I want to see if you guys are listening. Was it good? Was it good? How did you guys feel? All right. You got awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Xiao Tong. Thank you, Nicola. Come to the Q&A session. We are almost at the end of our session. But before that, yes, coming to the important part, which is the Q&A sessions. Before I actually share out the questions, I just want to thank all of you guys who actually took time and actually drop your questions at our FB page and also at our Insta page. So big thanks to all of you. Because of the time constraint, we are not able to share all your questions, but nevertheless, we have highlighted the 2 best questions and we will post it in the chat box and Miss Amanda will answer us. Right, thank you, Michelle. So these are 2 questions from our Facebook post. Hi, Miss Amanda, do you think that the lack of communication could lead to mental health problems?
Yes, the lack of communication do lead to a lot of mental health issues, especially in relationships with friends and with family. So the lack of it can cause a sense of loneliness and isolation because we are all born social creatures, and that could lead to depression, especially now during the pandemic.
Okay, so the second question, how can the new media contribute in regards to diminishing the social stigma of mental health?
So the more that something is talked about and the more that something is normalized, the less it will be stigmatized, right? And so what new media can do is actually to, keep sending out messages about mental health, allow people to talk about it, to share about it. I've been seeing some popular apps now like Clubhouse that they are basically forums and groups, of people who are like-minded, who have the same interest, can go to the same room and they will talk about things. And these are very, very actually conducive platforms to actually talk about mental health and to share. And anyone could join, anyone in the public could join. It's not like a private room, right? So other than that, there are also many Facebook groups in Malaysia who support people with mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and LGBT. If you do a search, this is how new media is actually supporting them. And the more it is talked about, the less it will be stigmatized. Of course, live videos and interviews like this, it can be conducted online by mental health practitioners to talk more and spread more awareness. We are doing very, very hard to actually try to spread mental health awareness. That's why we have Facebook page, we have Instagram, some actually even have TikTok accounts to talk about mental health. Other than that, on the more systemic level, organizations and schools and businesses can use new media platforms to conduct talks and interviews just like this one, because the more something is talked about, the less stigmatized the topic becomes.
All right, we have few questions at the chat box from Yuting. Hello, Miss Amanda. May I ask what is the most complicated or memorable case with a tertiary student who's suffering from mental health issue that you have encountered in this pandemic?
Okay, So there's one client of mine, let's call her just Jane. She moved back home after she completed her diploma, and because it was a pandemic, she moved from Kuantan back to KL, and her depression and anxiety was triggered by during the pandemic due to a childhood trauma she endured. Right, so she has some issues with her family, so she isolated herself in her room all day. She was self-harming. She has developed an eating disorder. So when she came to see me, she's telling me, I'm going to kill myself and I'm ready to kill myself. So she was quite a serious client, right? She was what we call a high-risk client. So I remember taking her to the psychiatrist first, and then later on, the psychiatrist has recommended that she actually be admitted into the psychiatric ward. So that was my first suicidal client. So I was waiting in the middle of the night until she was admitted to the psychiatric ward, right? But thank God, 6 months later after treatment, she finally recovered and was back to her normal and happy self. And just a few days ago, she left to the UK to further her studies.
Okay. Yeah, the following question by Yong Xuan.
So how do you measure the effectiveness of counseling practice in an online setting? Always ask for feedback from the client on how they feel about the online session. Actually, not just an online session. We even ask what do you find most helpful in the session? How do we move? How can we work together to move forward together in a better way? We always ask these questions, right? Sometimes we also gauge how the client is responding online. Are they easily distractible, or are they able to go deep into their emotions and process them? What I experienced with Alvin just now, he was quite okay. He was quite attuned, and he was quite into the process. So he was able to go deeper to talk about his emotions as well. And also, the most important measure is, if they are showing any improvement, if they are reporting any improvement in the next session, I feel better, I am more relieved now, and I want to move on and talk about other things. These are some of the ways and methods for us to gauge whether the online session is effective or not.
All right, the last question, and we are done with the Q&A session.
Hi, Madam Amanda. Just call me Amanda, will do, Joshua. How do we differentiate whether something we encounter is anxiety or depression, or it's just mere stress? Okay, if it's just stress, it's so there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? If it's good stress, we always need some kind of stress to keep us motivated, to keep us improving, to keep us going, and because stress is a response. It's a fear response that actually keeps us alive, telling us that, we need to do something in order to preserve our life. Just if we don't do our assignment, if it is equivalent to not meeting the deadline, then it's equivalent to the sensation of we are gonna die, that kind of feeling. So it becomes more severe. I would say it becomes something that you need to pay attention to when it hits the point where you can't function anymore. It's so stressful that you can't think anymore. You have a brain fog, and then you just, you're just so emotional all day, and you can't eat, you can't sleep, So I wouldn't link stress to anxiety or depression, because they are completely very, very different things, because stress can cause a lot of other things other than anxiety or depression. But if you would really like to know if what you are encountering is anxiety or depression, I think you can talk to a mental health practitioner or a counselor. They will let you do a certain test. It's called the Beck's Depression Inventory. I'll just type it here. You can also Beck's Depression Inventory or Scale. I forgot which one it is, but usually you can actually do a quick test through these two tests to actually gauge whether a person has anxiety or depression tendencies.
Okay, so I guess with that, we have come to the end of our Q&A session. Again, thank you everyone for the questions, and for all those of you, we could not answer all the questions. We apologize, sincere apologies. We'll definitely get back to you via email with the answers. All right. So yeah, before we actually leave Bersurai, we take a group photo because we want to capture all the memories and moments that we had today with this session. I hope you guys had a good time. So please, right now, on your cameras, we'll take a group photo. I guess Min Min is ready. So all of you, yeah.
Hang
All
on, Tabitha. Should I change my layout, my background, back to the green one first?
Yeah, sure.
Just give me a second. Sorry. All right.
All right. Are you guys ready? All right. In the count of 3, 2, 1. Done, Min Min? All right. We'll move on to take another picture. So for this picture, I just want you guys to do a heart shape. Why heart shape? Because this is our hashtag, gather our hearts. So I think we've gathered 83 hearts today, and we're so grateful for all of you. So another one more picture, okay? In the count of 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. So with that group photo, we are done with our session today. Thank you so much to all 83 of you for staying till the end. This whole session will be uploaded on Facebook and YouTube. So if you guys want a recap, you guys could head out to our page at PR and New Media 2021 to check it out. Please also like and follow our social media accounts too. We have other interesting sharing sessions coming up, so stay tuned for all of that. And also, please help us fill in our evaluation form just so that we know what you guys think about our sharing session. We will put it in a few minutes in the chat box. And before that, as you guys can see in the screen, these are the helplines. If any one of you here have any problems or doubts, you think you need help, please do contact any of this helpline. We have 3 helplines here. First is Naluri, Talian Kasih, Befrienders KL. And let's move on to the next slide. So for all those of you who want to have a maybe a conversation or a personal touch with Miss Amanda, you can always look for her. We have attached her contact details. First is her Gmail that is stated below, the contact number, and also the company's email address, booking.myconfidential@gmail.com. So please take note of this. I'll just leave it as it is, because if you guys want to screenshot it or print screen it, you guys can go ahead and do it. All right. So I guess we can put in the evaluation form link. And thank you, everyone. It's already 11:26. So thank you so much for all of you. Thank you, Miss Amanda. Do you have any last words to say before we leave?
Great job, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much. See you guys in another meeting and another interesting sharing session by PR and New Media Group. Thank you, Miss Lim.
Thank you. Bye. You're welcome.
Bye, guys. Hope you guys had a good day, good time. Bye-bye. Stay safe.